Hi guys, it's Sharon from Unleashed Training to Transition, and I'm back again today with something a little bit different. Today is exercise day. Now many of you, or some of you may remember that Oscar has a bad back, so I have to work him, doing physical therapy with him 2 to 3 days a week to make sure that he stays healthy. And I do the same exercises with Lucy so that she remains healthy. I'm going to show you a little bit of our routine. Each routine takes about 15 to 20 minutes, so I won't show you the whole thing, but I will show you a little bit of our routine to show you how I keep him healthy. And I want you guys to think about how we may incorporate some of these exercises into my visits when I finally get to be able to come back and visit with you in person. First exercise that we're going to do is the ladder. And this just gets his muscles warmed up so he can do some of the other exercises. He'll do this about 6 times on the low ladder. Good. Good boy. And then we're going to get him to do it sideways. And the reason we do it sideways is I want him to start leading with his back feet. I want him to get more exercise on his back end because that's where his pain is. His pain is right in here. Come on. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I'm gently reminding him what to do here. Cookie. Which way do you think he does it better? Which side do you think is bothering him more today? The next thing we'll do is we'll do a rewind through here. And he's pretty good at that. Rewind. 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 Good. And we'll do that twice. Rewind. 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 So why do you think I have him rewind over the ladder rungs as opposed to just rewinding? I do it so that he's aware of his back feet and what his back feet are doing. I want him to pick up his back feet. Watch out, baby. Now we're going to do it on a little higher. The beauty of this ladder is that I can do it either way. And this just works a different group of muscles in his legs and his back. Good. He'll do that about 6 times as well. Good. 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 So he took a little funny hop there at the beginning. I would probably keep an eye on that, and if all of his starts were like that, I would know that his back was hurting him. I think he just knew we were close to the end. Next thing we're going to do is sits, downs, and stands, or something I call kind of puppy push-ups. And I do it on this because I don't want him traveling too much. It's much harder for him to stay in position, and he isolates the muscles much better if he stays in position. So he's standing on a mat or sitting on a mat. Excuse me. Stand. Wait. And I'm going to step back from him a little bit because I'm training a couple things at once here. But while it's also for his exercise, I want him to be able to do these behaviors from me at a distance. Down. Stand. So he's traveling. Rewind. Stand. Rewind. I want him on that mat. Sit. Stand. Down. Stand. Ta-da. Good. Very nice. And I'll reward him occasionally while he's doing this. He does know these, and he is cheating a little bit here. Sit. Good. See, he almost didn't sit there. Stand. Sit. Stand. Rewind. Good. Ta-da. Good. Action. Good. And that's all. Not very many. Just a little bit more of a warm-up to get his muscles moving. The next thing we're going to do is the treat series, and we call it that just because I have treats in my hands and I guide him through this, luring him into the positions that I want him to take. This is really the meat and potatoes of his exercise routine. It's the one that works the most muscles, and it's the one that we work the hardest on. He has his front end higher than his back end because his back end is the one that hurts. His hamstrings, his back side muscles hurt. And I want to make sure he has good rotation in his spine so that he stays healthy. So we want to put more pressure on the back end to build up those muscles. And we want to take some of the pressure off of the front end because when he's just going about his day-to-day activities, he puts more pressure on his front end because his back end does hurt. So he compensates using his front end more. And so while I'm going to work those muscles and try to strengthen those as well, while I'm doing these types of exercises, I want to make sure that he is not putting undue pressure on his front end. And I'll show you what the treat series looks like. Always have treats in my hands. So is this a lure, a bribe, or a shaping exercise? It's actually luring because I'm going to lure him. And I'm going to lure his head out, kind of flat. I'm going to lure it up, which puts more pressure on the back end. And I try to keep him straight as possible. So I stand in front of him. And then I'm going to lure him to the side, which is going to work these muscles. And then to his shoulder and to his back end. And I'll do that on each side. And then I do this, which is a little bit of work for his shoulders. And I'm going to do that 6 times. This is number 5. Oopsie. Get back up. Let's get you square. He's a little wiggly today. I think he might be a little bit in pain. It's probably from the lack of exercise or normal exercise that he's getting since we are staying at home. These can be done on the ground. I choose to do them on balls that are stable. They move, makes it a little bit harder, makes him work a little bit harder at it. So another thing that we do, and I'm going to get him more square on here, is have him just sit, or not just sit, just stand for 10 seconds. It's really interesting to see if a dog can stand still for 10 seconds. It's also very hard for them. I want to see that his limbs don't move, paws don't move at all. Good boy. Good boy. Now we're going to do something that I call contralaterals, which means that I'm going to be picking up one of his paws and having him put all of his weight on the other 3 paws. We'll start with the back end. And pick it up carefully, supporting the knee, and he's got very little weight on here. Pick up this one carefully, supporting the knee, always making sure that his knees are fully supported so that there's no pulling or pushing on the knees. Now we'll do the front ones. I want to keep my hands low so that he doesn't have to reach too high. I don't need to make it too hard for him. And you can probably see a little bit how he shifts his weight to make sure that he is stable. Good boy. Now the next thing that I do is a weight shift. And I don't want him to do that. I want him to resist. And once he figures it out, he does start resisting some. He's not resisting a whole lot today. He also does have a cut on his foot, and that could be part of the reason that he's not resisting. But I see, as I'm watching his back legs, that his right side, which is his side closest to me, is not putting full pressure on the ground. And I'm a little concerned about that, and I'm going to look into that when we're done with this. Good boy. And then I'm going to bounce these around a little bit just to see if he can keep his weight stable. And he's actually doing a really good job of that. Good boy. Now we're going to do, since it's all that was strength training, we're going to do a little bit of stretching too. There's a little bit of stretching too. So we're stretching out his hamstrings here, and he's got a nice stretch going. Ta-da! Oh, very nice. And you notice I am giving him treats as well as luring him with them. Ta-da! Good. One more. We only do 3 of these. These are pretty hard for him. Ta-da! Good. And then the final thing we'll do is a stretch with for his shoulders and this part of his body. Sit. Good. Sit. Good. One more. Sit. Good. Okay, so he's done with that series now. We're going to move over to the wobble board. This is the wobble board, and it is obviously an unstable surface. And this is a very short exercise, but I use my feet to make it move. And I want to have him try to keep his body, his 4 feet, in the same position while maintaining his stability. And now I'm going to get his back feet up there. Get your back feet up. Good boy. And do the same thing. My arms are barely long enough to feed him in the correct position. And I'll just do this gently. And it's just to keep his stability. Our final series of exercises uses a simple chair. And for that, I'm going to ask him to go under. Good. Under. Under. Good. Under. Good. Now you see that I'm using my marker word, good, and I'm feeding him after I say good. Good. One more. Under. Good. Good boy. Now we're going to do another set of stretches. Good. Good. One more. Good. Now I'm going to take a pillow. It's a pretty unstable surface. And I want him to jump on this and hold it for a little bit. And this is strength building. No, up, up. And then I want him to sit and come exploding up into it again. Sit. Sit. Good. Now the reason I want him exploding is these are muscles he uses when we do agility to take jumps. Sit. Good. Up, up. Up, up. Yeah, he's not quite himself today. He is definitely a little bit on the sore side. Sit. And I don't know if that's because he has that little cut in between his toes or if it's something else, but we will explore it later on tonight when he's a little bit more tired and more likely to let me look at his toes and his feet and his body. Just a couple more exercises. The next one is shakes or high fives, and that's going to work his shoulders. And that's going to relieve some of the tension in his shoulders. Good. Fred. Oh, Fred. Yes. And I'm going to do 10 on each side. Ethel. And that's just my cue for those. Ethel. And I tug just a little bit. Ethel. To give a little bit more of a stretch. Fred. Good. This one I call Spider-Man, and you'll see why. Rewind. Rewind. Good boy. Action. Rewind. Good boy. Rewind. Good boy. Good boy. Now I know we tried doing that when we were working at, when we were visiting you guys at Juvenile Hall. And I think one of the reasons he had a hard time there was that the wall was much slipperier than this. This is a pretty rough wall and gives him a pretty good grip. So we can continue to try to work on it when I come back, when I'm able to come back and visit. So that is the exercises that I do with Oscar. I try to do them at least 2 times a week, usually 3. It's very important for his health, just like all of our healths, to do some sort of exercise at least a few times a week. And if you can think of other things that I might be able to add into his exercise routine that would work his muscles that I can do in this space with what I have on hand, I'd love to hear your suggestions. Okay, as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please make sure to get them to Officer Alfaro, and I will try to answer them and incorporate them in future lessons. We're going to close with our one good thing. I want you to think about one good thing somebody else has done today, one good thing or one thing you learned in this class that you found interesting, and then most importantly, one good thing that you've done today that makes you proud of yourself or happy with yourself. And if you can, I'd like you to write those down, at least the one about yourself, so that you can keep an ongoing list of good things about yourself to make you feel good about yourself, which is really important. And as I think I mentioned in the last lesson, it's something I try to do every night before I go to sleep so that I have good thoughts in my head before I go to sleep. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I miss you guys. Oscar and Lucy miss you guys. We hope that we're able to come back and visit very soon. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll be back soon with another DVD for you. Bye.